up, Tackleboys? Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to do an unboxing for the Lucky Craft Flash Minnow 110. The goal is to compare it to the Husky Jerk HJ10 and the Smithwick Rogue. This is about 100 centimeters also, but 3 hooks. To see if the construction quality holds up to a lure that's about 3 times the price. The plan is, after this review, I'll be taking said lure, taking it to the ocean, and seeing if we can catch surf perch or striped bass on it. I've actually already tried both of these lures, and it might have something to do with the color, but I didn't catch anything on these. I did catch one on a Smithwick that, it was a really old Smithwick, but I caught one on a blue and silver Smithwick, so I think I'll be able to catch something. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get into this unboxing and review. The packaging is pretty much a normal sort of packaging for a lure, just cardboard, plastic. The lure's on the inside. It comes equipped with 3 treble hooks. They're chromed out. It looks like they're ready and capable for saltwater fishing. We read on the back here, the ultimate saltwater series would challenge any sea creature around the world. Let's go ahead and open this up and see if the construction holds up to the name. Super easy to open. Barely had to pull in that. So the first thing we're going to look at is the anchors that they put the eyelets on, that they also anchor the hooks on. Something I can tell right away from Lucky Craft is that these little eyelets right up here, they're anchored on really well. There's no gap in between them and the body. I don't think there's any risk of them coming out. It looks like they're set really well, and I don't have to worry about losing a fish because it breaks off. We'll look at the anchors on this. It's actually not quite as good. The Smithwick here kind of lets me down a little bit. The anchors are sort of tinny. They're really thin, and you can actually see a gap where the anchor goes into the body, and that's definitely not what you want when you're fishing a suspending jerkbait. I mean, I'm sure it gets the job done, but you can certainly tell the quality is better between the Smithwick and the Lucky Craft. And then with that said, right here on the Rapala you can see the anchors are really similar to the Lucky Craft anchors. And forgive me, I don't know what these are actually called, but they're set in really well. There's no gap, there's epoxy covering up the whole area where it goes in, and everything looks to be nice and snug. So I'd say in terms of security of hooks anchored to the body, it's pretty much identical to a Rapala. Next thing I want to look at is the bills. So something you'll notice with these jerkbaits, these are both suspending jerkbaits. Let's first look at the Rapala. Is the bill here is really skinny, it's long, it's meant for digging, sort of like a paddle, but it's not reinforced very much. So I've actually had these snap off before running them into rocks, stream fishing. The Smithwick has the same sort of thing here. Long, skinny paddle, meant for digging, fairly frail. Something I noticed immediately about this Lucky Craft is the paddle in the front here is a lot shorter. It's reinforced. It's significantly thicker. It's really definitely made to take a little bit more heat from reeling it in, but it also is probably made not to dig quite as deep, quite as fast, which might be nice if you're trying to work the waves and maybe create some pauses in between surf breaks. So the bill on this definitely looks nice, and I really think I'd have a hard time snapping it off. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the eyes. Let's take a look at these eyes real quick. You see them shimmering right here? They're actually set into the body of this lure. Oops. They're actually set into the body of this lure, and they pick up light in the same way that a real fish would. They're not painted on. Something I've noticed about saltwater fishing is the eyes are really important. You want eyes that are lifelike and realistic, and I've caught most of my fish on jig heads that have eyes set into them. So painted on works, but I think real eyes that catch light are probably a little bit better. The eyes on a Rapala are indeed painted on, at least on this Husky Jerk, and then the eyes on this Smithwick Rogue are also painted on. Next, let's take a look at the actual paint on the body. The Lucky Craft paint obviously is beautiful, shimmering in the light here, metallic. It has ridges that are actually put into the mold to catch light and deflect it in different ways. The paint job is really nice. It also has gills and a lateral line molded into the body that aren't going to go away if a fish strikes it. You can see it's dark on top and sort of gets gradually lighter as you go to the bottom. So between the paint and the realistic lateral lines and gills, I'd say this is a very lifelike looking fish. Let's go ahead and compare that to the Rapala. The Rapala here, it does a pretty good job. It has one gill that's molded into the body, but everything else is painted on here to the actual cast. Same with the Rogue. Pretty good, but it's all paint other than this metallic shine. It's been dabbled into the side. Alright, next let's go ahead and take a look at the hooks. You'll see the hooks on this, they're chromed out. It looks like maybe they used mustad. They look like saltwater hooks. They are sort of a normal shank. They're honestly not that sharp. I'm not super impressed with these hooks. I'm sure they'll catch fish, but they're not the sharpest hooks in the world. If we compare that to the Smithwick, this also comes with 3 hooks. They're not chrome, but they're actually significantly sharper. I can't touch them with as much force as I could on the Lucky Craft. They're a lot finer on the point, but I don't know how well they hold up in salt water. So they're made for fresh water. And then last but not least, I think actually the best hooks of the bunch are on this Rapala Husky Jerk 10. This hook is really nice. I've never had any problems with it. I've never had them snap on me or bend. They're a lot sharper than the Lucky Craft. They're a little bit shorter and also a little bit wider, so I think they give a nice profile in the water. And I would definitely be happy if instead of these, maybe they use something similar in terms of quality and caliber to what Rapala is using. I'll go ahead and compare the width of this lure with the Rogue. Something you can see right away is it's a lot thicker. The Rogue has a skinnier body, and specifically the back is a lot fatter on the Lucky Craft, but also the belly is significantly fatter on the Lucky Craft. It doesn't taper as much. I think this lure would do a good job displacing water, really keeping its weight and wearing it well, and enticing fish to strike, really alerting them that it's there. One last thing that I want to review is actually the sound that it makes when you shake it. So let's go ahead and shake this Lucky Craft real quick. You can tell there's only like 1, maybe 2 ball bearings in there, and it makes a really deep sort of rattle and a thud, kind of like bassy voice inside this lure, which I like a lot. That rattle you just heard now was actually the hooks. So let's go ahead and compare that to the Smithwick. So that sounds like it has a few tiny little ball bearings in there. It's a lot lighter, a lot more delicate, and it's not going to make as much sound in the water. And I can actually count how many ball bearings are inside of this because it's actually a ghost perch, and it has 5 ball bearings right behind the first hook. And that one's sort of right in the middle. 5 medium-sized ball bearings. But this one certainly makes the best sound, in my opinion. It sounds a lot like a topwater lure that I like to use for smallmouth. And I know that this sound really gets fish going. This is the first time I've used this scale for myself. It's Kathleen's coffee scale for when she makes coffee and measures it out. But I'm gonna measure my lures with it. First, let's measure the Lucky Craft. Comes in at 18 grams. Remember that, 18 grams. Now, HJ10, Rapala. 9 grams. 9 grams. And now, let's do our Smithwick Rogue. 12 grams. So we got this at 9, this at 12, Lucky Craft at 18. What that tells me is between the aerodynamic body and the weight, I'll be able to cast this thing a lot farther out into the surf and cover more water, which I really like because the one thing I've had a hard time with these other jerk baits is actually getting them out there to where the fish are. So with that, that's my quick review of the Lucky Craft Flash Minnow 110 Metallic Sardine Lure. My overall impression is that the paint job is beautiful. The hooks are okay, they could be improved. I'd recommend at some point buying better hooks for this lure, especially since you probably spent $20 on it. They're anchored well to the body. The lip, the digging lip, looks and feels very durable. I think it'll last a long time. The eyes are gorgeous. They're set into the body. They catch light well and reflect it really well, which I think is very important for saltwater fishing. Do I think this lure is worth $20? It depends on if you have the budget and where you're fishing. From where I'm from in Ohio, you probably don't need this lure. Something like this will get the job done, or this will get the job done in a lake or a stream near you. That said, where I'm fishing, I've used these in the ocean. They don't cast as far, they don't quite take the waves as well, and I don't think they displace enough water. They don't shine as well. The paint job's not as nice. The eyes aren't as realistic. And I think that this lure will overall do a much better job in the water than these two lures. So if you're fishing in California, inshore or surf fishing, and you have $20 to spend, I'd recommend using this. If your goal is just to catch surf perch, you definitely don't need one of these lures. You can go to a local tackle shop, or you can dig up sand crabs for free right on the beach, and you can catch surf perch all day with it. And you might even catch more than if you were using this lure. But if you want to try some active fishing, walking around the beach, looking for the right place where waves convene and where water's ripping out and where sand is overturning to really catch some fish, then this might be a fun option for you. So in my opinion, this is worth $20, but rest assured I'll be tying it on some really thick fluorocarbon leader with a swivel, which I also bought in the same order, to tie it to my main line. The reason why you want to use one of these in the surf is it prevents line twist. So I implore you, please tune in next time. I'm going to be going fishing this weekend with this lure and these swivels, and I'm going to try and catch a surf perch or a striped bass or maybe a halibut or whatever the heck else is biting. But I really hope we can get into some fish, and I can give you a full review on whether or not this lure is worth it and it works well in California. So just drop a comment below if you have any questions or comments about these lures or this review, or you'd like to see something similar to this in the future. I really appreciate all your positivity and comments and the new subscribers that have come to the channel and the last couple of videos, and I look forward to making some very soon. So until next time, until we're out on the beach, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
What's up, Tackleboys? Welcome to our unboxing. Who wants this dog?